Hello, everyone. My name is Megan. I'm at the Alaska MEP. Well, actually at my house, but Alaska MEP. I'm the supply chain person here. And today we have Jesse from Cardboard Cribbage joining us. He's a manufacturer here in Anchorage, Alaska. Hi, Jesse. How are you?
Hi, Megan.
Jesse, to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Cardboard Cribbage, and how it got started?
Yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Jesse. I am an Alaskan. I was born in Alaska. I grew up in Talkeetna, and basically, I spent a lot of time outdoors, and I learned to play cribbage when I was very young from my uncle Bud, which I feel like is a great uncle name for someone that teaches you cribbage. Um, I I learned to lose a lot at cribbage and get better at it. But I spent a lot of time playing cribbage with my family. Um, and But growing up in Talkeetna, I always was. I became very much like a tinkerer, and I like to draw and make things and try and. I found myself, trying to be creative before I, knew necessarily that was like a cool thing. And yeah, eventually through backpacking and getting out in the mountains and stuff like that, and playing cribbage with other people, I found out that lots of people my age play cribbage, especially in the outdoor community. And that's where I started to come up with the idea for cardboard cribbage. Um, I just, saw a lot of people that enjoyed the same thing as me. A lot of huts and cabins and stuff would have a cribbage board out of them.
Mm.
But there was lots of places that didn't have a cribbage board. And I wanted to play more cribbage with my friends. I think they wanted to play cribbage with each other. And I always thought it'd be cool to come up with a cool idea for it. So I ended up coming up with cardboard cribbage, a way to take cribbage with you anywhere. And but also be able to kind of have like the novelness of a card box and not have to bring the board with you, and also
Mm.
to have some expressive art on it as well. I love doing art, and I love being have the ability to put my art on something that I could take around with me, or with cardboard cribbage, maybe even have someone else's art on there to take around with you. So
I love that. Well, I think the portability is such a huge part of the cardboard. I mean, that's like what differentiates you the most. Yes.
yeah, so with so like, because there was and people that play cribbage, and especially people in the outdoor community that like to play cribbage, I'm sure I've seen that there's other portable options that exist. All of those options, what's really unique about cardboard cribbage is that you don't need to bring a game board and the cards. You just have you have a card box that is the board. And so that itself sets itself apart in the fact that I've completely subtracted an entire unit from cribbage, but at the same time allowed you to have all the functionality, but also the feature of just having the customization and the personalization of it. I think makes it really special and unique. I you know People aren't just playing cribbage obviously in the mountains. They're playing at pubs, they're playing on airplanes, or now they're playing at airplanes. I mean, I would bring a board sometimes to play an airplane, but it wasn't super easy. um, but yeah, it's just also, being able to have something that has like some cool art on it is more of a conversation piece, and it's also more of an accessory that you feel more excited to show people.
Mm.
um, I had like a plastic board I had found at REI before, and people thought it was cool, but it was because I had covered it in stickers. Like, I covered it in all these different stickers and stuff, and it added this personality to it, because I had no personality before. And I think
Mm.
that was part of the idea coming up for cardboard cribbage was, to be able to buy something that came with some personality, something that you wanted to buy in the first place, not that you necessarily had to add to. Um, so
Do you feel that like customization and a little bit of flair is more enticing for the outdoor community? Because this is definitely like for the outdoor enthusiasts. Granted, all these other people can use it too, but that was like your original go-to. Yes.
yeah, I think that especially when you're on outdoors, whether you're, backpacking or hunting or fishing, or you fly and you have like your flight bag or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that like, I think of it like with backpacking a lot is like that's like it's like your mobile home. It's like you have this gear and all these things, but they are like what you've managed to bring with you. And so a lot of them, no matter how you got them or whether you're going to trade them out or buy something else in the future, is like an extension of you. It is, you're kind of like it's like your personality in a bag of it. And I think some people care a little bit more than that, but but it's kind of different because there's weight that goes into that, and there's the things that you have, and you choose, like every single item you put in that
Mm,
bag.
totally.
And I think what's really, unique about a product like this is like, it's easy to decide to put it in that bag because it weighs 3 ounces. It's like, do you, want to put 3 ounces in there or not? And typically, I think with the general outdoor community, that's a pretty easy thing to do. And there's a lot of cool downtime when you're outside as well. Like it's the best downtime. It's like this scenic downtime, and you're in a beautiful place and you can have this thing to play with your friends or play with a stranger even and be an icebreaker or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah,
not
so I
just
think,
be like a deck of cards,
yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah, that's, I mean, because I think that like, because that's the thing is like a deck of cards has always been like a game and an accessory, like,
mm,
but cribbage was never really an accessory anyway. It's a full game and that's how it's thought of. And I think that, you know, cardboard cribbage really kind of just melds those thoughts together of because portability is one thing when it's like, oh, this is something that's normally not portable and now it's portable. But there's also like a sense of portability of just like I take this with me, you know, like the accessory factory of like you don't even think necessarily you're not even necessarily thinking the word portable. It's just something that you can bring anywhere. And like yes,
mm,
that's very portable. That's like the most portable. It's not just like a slight function of it. It's like the definite like it's a
yeah,
definitively portable product, like your keys or your wallet or something like that. Something that just easily just goes in your bag like your sunglasses. And I think that that's where cardboard cribbage really differentiates from the competition is it just feels like something that you can just throw in any sort of day-to-day travel bag and kind of take anywhere you think you might end up having time to play.
yeah, I love that. Okay, so we had kind of talked about the questions that I was going to ask you, and there's not really much on manufacturing, but I do want to touch on that because you and me have worked together when it comes to finding a manufacturer. What's your manufacturing process right now, and what are you hoping to have your manufacturing process go to?
Right. So right now I make everything here. Um, and everything. The only thing I don't make is the playing cards because they do require um, more expensive equipment to make in quantity. I At the moment I don't have like certain equipment that would take to make like playing cards and stuff. But
Yeah.
when I first started it, um, what I was doing was I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just knew that I was working with cardstock because for anyone that doesn't know, it's not actually cardboard, it's cardstock, which is like what they make playing card boxes out of and stuff.
Mm.
And so I use, which is obviously thinner. It's a thicker that thick paper. So,
Do you have
but
one of your boxes?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay, great, great. Visual, everybody,
yeah,
whatever side it's on.
yeah. Um, so yeah, so the holes in it originally when I started to do it, and I went through all these different designs before I got to the like pizza box style that it is
Mm,
now. I just put it down, but the pizza box style that it is now. So, but I had all these different ideas for it, but when I finally figured out how I wanted it to fold, I bought like leather. I had never punched leather before, but I bought like leather hole punches and stuff like that. And so I was just like lining up these holes and just punching them one by one. And very quickly in my mind, I was like, well, I don't want to do that more than a few times. Like that's ridiculous. Like like this is a for me and a couple people if I'm punching it like this, and it wasn't a beautiful project like that at all. Like, it was very, very DIY. It did not look like I could make that for lots of people. So I was like, all right, so what are my options? And so, when I knew what I want my one of my template to look like, I knew what I wanted. I had, art and an idea for everything. So my where I went because it was the most affordable option for me. was I went to lasers, and I learned how to use a laser cutter. So right now I cut all the boxes with the laser cutter, and I've kind of upgraded my lasers over time as the demand's gone up, and I needed to go faster and faster to make more. So I started with the laser that would cut, one out out of cardstock in maybe like 7 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And now I have one that is cutting them out in around a minute. And so,
Okay.
I can switch them out, and I can cut those out pretty quick. Which still like is not amazing when the demand gets up, because really so there's other equipment that I would like to have for those, but that's what I'm doing right now. Is I cut them out with a laser that I've dialed in, so that it looks really clean, and that they're pretty consistent every single time. Like they're in really pretty tight consistency. My manufacturing process, probably the hardest part is the pegs. And that's really a major limiting factor for how many I can get done by myself, because for anyone that's played cardboard cribbage, the pegs are like these kind of like fancy routed ends, and they're a short peg. Well, I buy these like really like fancy, not good quality toothpicks, because I've messed around. It's funny. I think few people, except for maybe in like some restaurants, have went through as many different types of toothpicks as I have, just buying toothpicks and just being like, oh, these are horrible. Like the quality of these toothpicks is not good. and so I've learned a lot about toothpicks and how consistent they can be one to the next. And I found toothpicks that are really consistent, have this good like design to them. I cut them to size with my laser, and then I sand them individually on the belt sander behind me. And wasn't my first choice. I went through a lot of different kind of ideas for how I would do those and sand those. And I've tried to come up with like different kind of creative ideas for that and stuff. And right now, the fastest that I'm able to do it is I just practiced and practice and practice and practice with just like getting my hand in motion, and sort of like kind of like setting up the sander so I could just like spin it. And I just did it enough where I got pretty consistent and quick with it. So, the next step up from that would be some sort of actual real like machining or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
how long is it taking you then to manufacture it? Because you kind of told us the time frame now on the boxes. So even just being good at the toothpicks, how much are you making out?
Like a full unit, like how many I can make.
Yeah.
So I think that I haven't like hit like my maximum, because I'm always getting faster at it. But because I varnish them, and I have to varnish them with like spraying them, and so I have to lay them out. So there's like certain things like weather dependent, or like like I have a warehouse I'll drive out to if the weather's bad, but that can like throw things off and stuff. But like let's say everything's perfect. I think if I was only making boxes in a week, it would be realistic to maybe do like 150 or 200
Boxes in
if
a
I
week?
was only, yeah. But like I say that, but the thing is like I'm not ever able to only just make boxes all week. I'm
Right.
like running the whole company and stuff, and working on different things, and trying to work on, because I'm not just manufacturing. I'm doing all the other stuff, so it's just not possible. So typically, I'll do like, so like I'll have an order for like 100, and I'll get that out probably in the course of like 7 to 10 days. A lot of times, if I have an order that big, just because I want to give myself leeway or something like that. I typically tell customers that have an order, and if I don't already have it made on inventory, I'll usually put it like 10 to 14 days out, just to make sure I can deliver on that with everything going on. So,
Yeah. Well, and you just started getting more into the wholesale side of things, yes?
yeah. So when I first started, and I was working my full-time job, I was like, all right, let's hit up some wholesale places. And then, and I hit up a few, and then it kind of like expanded, and then other wholesale places started contacting me, and I had to stop hitting up places, because I just was like getting so overwhelmed trying to make these and do it at the same time. So but now that I've left my what was my full-time job,
Congratulations.
yeah, now I'm just going kind of like letting it fly, and picking up orders and just not really, just I'm definitely of the mindset of selling out's a good thing, and the goal is not to, I've never liked the mindset of like, oh, I only have 10 left, I need to make sure I have that available for somebody. I'm more the mindset of like, go, 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 and follow up, and then adjust as you need to for, if you need, like, you don't need to don't make the infrastructure bigger if you don't have the demand for it. And let the
Totally.
demand build your infrastructure. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, especially I think with you have like the art, doing different art. And then we didn't get on. Okay, so manufacturing process. This is what you're doing right now. You make it all here in Alaska, all by mostly by hand, some machine, but it's all
Mhm.
you. You're sole proprietor, right? Like nobody else is involved right now.
Right. Yeah. I don't have any employees.
But you just
I
quit
don't
your
have,
job to do this full time.
yes.
Love that. I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
so if your demand continues to go up, because it sounds like you want to be more wholesale, would it be we had talked about looking for a manufacturer. Is that the route that you ideally want to go to expand? Tell us about how you plan on growing cardboard cribbage.
Yeah. So I think that an excellent place for my product would be somewhere like REI, where you can go through like the check stand line, see this product, and go to the register and buy it.
Mm,
Getting so what's really what I've learned, and I had no idea getting into this, is because from my perspective, getting paper products manufactured, we see them all over the place. I would figure like,
it's-
oh man, this has to be fairly easy. It's not. I have a not only is just getting packaging made in bulk with cardstock products, like you see beer boxes and stuff all the time. Like sure, there's
mm,
companies for that, but like it's pretty difficult, and especially when it comes to like game companies and stuff, it's more limited than you think, especially domestically. And so my products really, what's really specific about cardboard cribbage is the tolerances are small,
mm,
because the holes are about as close as you can get holes with still maintaining the durability and longevity that it has. Any closer and I could be sacrificing quality of the product, and so I kind of
yeah.
have fairly tight tolerances. Um, and because my scale is not ridiculous, you're just not getting yeses everywhere. Because I don't have the quantity quite where people are willing to really bend people's ears. That's my perception right now, or perspective right now. And so, but yes, my goal is to have the product. I want to outsource the manufacturing so that I could pick up those kind of orders, because right now I couldn't handle that by myself, or I'd have to give up everything else to just be doing that. Also, outsourcing manufacturing for a product like this just really, it takes a lot of work for me to get the quality up to the level that's so simple with machines.
Mm,
Like the varnish I'm putting on the product, like I have to do quite a few coats, which is drying and curing, and then I have like a time that I can fold and like stuff. It's totally different than how they do it at like a printing press or something, where
yeah.
they can, where a machine varnishes that over and everything. And I've had to play with tons and tons of different types of varnish to even get it where I can have it as it is now. So a lot of those process that's taking me hours of waiting. Like I say making a new batch when I do it, because I literally varnish it and wait for it to cure, and then I have this window that I need to fold them all where it's like prime for them to be able to fold and have like the flexibility in the places that it needs to have. So like, I can't just set it aside. Like I have to put aside chunks of time, which in itself just makes everything feel like it's taking longer, even if that thing generally takes a certain amount of time because you're moving your time windows around and stuff.
Yeah.
So, um,
Have you thought about I think we've talked about this several times. Have you thought about manufacturing in Alaska and maybe expanding your team so that you can work on those other things and maybe somebody else is doing the manufacturing part?
yeah. My, initiative has always been to have this completely made in Alaska. Paper's hard for sure. I can say I've talked to every printing place that has been made available to me in Alaska about this project. I would say half of them just try and refer me to companies outside Alaska so far. And I'm talking about, and so like this has come in chunks. Like,
Yeah.
initially when I came, I was like, whole product, can you do this? And it's no's, is definite no's, like throughout Alaska. So where I am now is, I'm still working. I'm definitely working, multifaceted. Like, can this be done, in another state? Can this be done in Alaska? I'm doing both at the same time because I don't want to work
Yeah.
at one answer at a time. But in Alaska, it's a breakdown process. It's a part out process. It's no one's gonna assemble this for me unless that was also a separate thing. Which if it's on
Mm,
Alaska, I might as well assemble it. I feel like at this point.
yes.
Um, but but yeah, so right now, I'm in this process of like, can someone do pegs here? Can someone do sheets here? And as an entrepreneur, this is where you hear things like failing and being told no, and it's like no one's saying no. They're just like, but you are trying to get them to say. I guess you're always trying to get people to say yes or no. Like, because it's like, I'm not going to stop asking until you told me no, and like I know you mean it or something like that. And even
Yeah.
then, like, I'm gonna try and figure out or ask it a different way. Or and I've totally, I mean, I've hit up companies, in different places and just taken different avenues, like how I'm asking the questions, what I'm asking for. If I, maybe just like reassessing. Like now I could say with some companies in Alaska, I'm reassessing like, how do our goal, like maybe like I came across, or like my goal was the wrong goal for what I seemed like I wanted,
Mm,
like, and I've gotten more success with talking to some companies what we can do, because we really in Alaska need to align our goals with having things made local. And I think that that's what I want in Alaska. What a lot of my focus is because you're not paying less to get it made in Alaska right now, not
mm,
for this anyways. um,
mm.
and so for me, it's like really taking advantage of the small scale, working locally, and seeing what we can do with this. And for me, that would just be like, it also adds this level of like pride for me to have like an Alaska product. I love this state. I grew up here. I would love to, incorporate the community in creating it, and
Yeah.
see if we can continue to build it that way. So
I love that. I love that. That would be great. And it is very special to like be able to go to your factory, like your production line, and you having like some control and hands on and being the
absolutely,
decision maker.
it's one of the
How,
hardest parts about this process in general is just like the communicating out of state is so frustrating, because even domestically, like,
mm,
I've communicated with different printing places, just seeing what things look like all around the world. And locally is the best, because you can call them, and you can drive over there and talk to
yeah.
them.
And you
It's just,
probably know
and they
someone
also,
that knows them.
yeah, and it also feels like you understand each other better.
Yeah.
So
And you're all both in the same place. I feel like going through the same hardships of
exactly. Yeah,
Alaska,
and we
right?
and we do have the same goal. Like we do have the same goal. We're doing something, for our community here, and we're trying to, we're not just trying to help our customers out. We're trying to help our, other entrepreneurs out, other businesses out that want to help customers, and combine our customer bases, and help that community out. So
Yes, exactly. I love that. Yeah, you already know, I think community is so important. So thank you for coming to our manufacturing mixers and sharing all your knowledge. And thank you for coming and getting on this interview and sharing like the processes that you've taken, because there are manufacturers out there that have ideas and they may not know what the first step is. So seeing like you just told me your place got into the museum, Eagle River Nature Center, tidal wave. What was the last one? You said you got into four this last week.
I'm working. Yeah, so I'm starting up with some businesses in like Talkeetna.
Yeah.
I've been talking to
And then
like
doing custom boxes, right? Like
yeah,
the
yeah. So that's what's really cool about the product, is I can, because it's, cardstock, and it can be printed on, it's really easy for me to do branding and things like that on it. I'm in airframes, and they have like their airframes logo, and so I meet people like I meet like pilots and that like have play cribbage on their airframes. I've met people that learned how to play cardboard cribbage on like an airframes pack, or a pack they got from Hoarding Marmot or something like like
So
that,
cool.
which is
Yeah.
really cool. So
That is really cool. Yeah. Well, I would love to help you try to figure out how to make your manufacturing process happen here. You already know I'm trying to get more of these made for you because I love seeing what you've done with your business and how you've continued to grow it. It's really been
yeah.
a fun thing to see. Have you gotten any prototypes back, or you still haven't even gotten to that part with any of these other manufacturers?
No, the closest I'm getting right now is I've made progress, of some options with the manufacturing, like domestically, and I did I look into like what international manufacturing looks like.
Mm,
I think that that's just like the communication's so difficult with a project like this that sure,
mm,
like if you did do it or you had a bunch of money and you're willing to just kind of throw it at it and to get something down, you know, that could be a thing. I'm not going that way at all right
yeah.
now. So domestically, like not in Alaska. I've seen some quotes. It's not much easier than it is just trying to do stuff here. To be honest, no one really. It's still a difficult project for something like this. But uh, but I'm kind of getting to the point where like I'm kind of finding some stuff. The pegs are really hard. I'm being very stubborn about not wanting to put plastic pegs in it.
You got
Which
something you're going for, you know? Yeah, you got a feel, you got
yeah,
your
and that's
brand.
the tough thing is trying to weigh out like what to be stubborn for or not. And there's days
Mhm.
I'm like, I be too stubborn about the pegs. Like I'm just like wood or metal, no plastic. And I'm really trying to make my product kind of shine and like, feel like a quality, affordable product in that sense
Yeah.
and not make people feel like I feel like plastic pegs are sure they're, you know, less than a dime a
Well,
dozen. But
have you looked into metal pegs?
yeah, I've been looking into metal pegs. I
Okay.
think that metal pegs would be really cool. Um, but and that's also where I've sort of turned my look locally because there's places that do metal stuff here,
Yeah, I
and
think
so
I can
yeah,
connect you with someone. I'll talk to you after.
yeah,
But maybe it, could be a potential person that could help you. Um, okay, let me get back to the questions that Sammy Joe wrote a long time ago before she went on maternity leave. So, just curious, since we're getting closer to the end of our interview here, what advice would you give to inspiring entrepreneurs that are looking to start their own business?
yeah. Um, so I think that for me, one of the really frustrating things about starting a bit, well, maybe not frustrating, but something like a roadblock for me starting out felt like when it comes to being an entrepreneur, I tried to read like a lot of books about like starting a business and things like that. And I felt like there's, not allowed. It's surprising to me like how much doesn't feel like there's this missing chunk between like the person has the idea and then like the business is bigger than yours is right now. and and a lot of times it's hard to find where that gap happened. Like if that like and so for me it's like this place of like I've come from a very blue collar background and I think that financially like it feels for me like everything's starting from zero. And so I think a big thing is to not find a way that doesn't deter you.
Mm,
That the money doesn't deter you. That I think what I've done in this project is really focus on building it and just you know building it and doing what I can and I think I'm speaking more to people that are starting from a place where like they have an idea that they can do that you can do or someone that can help
mm,
you do it and to really like try and just do the best you can at that. And then I think for me, a big part of it was I always asked myself with this, do people need this? Like, do people need this product? Is
mm,
this as important? I'm excited about it, but is that really the point? You know, and and to get that feedback, like, is this just for you, or do other people like this? And I say that cardboard cribbage exists and it was made by the community. Like I wouldn't have these ideas without the community I was in. They like I do, for me, it's the perfect project of like cribbage and backpacking and tinkering and drawing and stuff like that. And it kind of did, that's kind of where it came in for me. But I wouldn't still do it if people didn't want to buy it, like and I think that it's important to ride those waves of validation and to be excited about them and be enthusiastic about them. But it's not bad to like, be a bit like cynical sometimes and like ask yourself like those hard questions of like, don't get like I just think it's really important to, and you hear this all the time, like listen to your community and know that like you don't come up with your ideas all by yourself, even when you think you do. Like, but also be proud of what you've done. Like when you climb a mountain, I feel like that's a lot what this experience is for me, is like climbing a mountain. And you have your summits, and when you get to the summit and you look back, you can't see the whole path that you've traveled up there. But and you might have received help along the way and all sorts of things, but like you did that. Like you did do that. So like give yourself that credit that you did that. Never think that you didn't do that by yourself, but also like don't be afraid to ask questions and ask for help. I mean, I don't have any education, like any formal education in like business or even graphic design or anything like that. It's all stuff that I've kind of just worked on and messed with, growing up. And I ask so many questions to people that I meet, and I ask for help so much. And I just don't think I could do something like this if I was afraid or overconfident and unable to ask those questions or do that. I think that that's huge. And if you do that, like your community wants you, they want to help you. So
totally. Okay. Celebrate your small wins. Be a lifetime learner.
Yeah.
Ask your questions.
Treat yourself like you're a new employee at your business. Like you're the new employee. You don't know who you're going to ask questions to, like that's how I think of it. You go to a new job. Like when I managed a store, I loved employees that ask questions. Like those are the best employees, that ask a lot of questions and want to know how stuff works. That just means that they're trying to do their job right. So when you start your own company, find out who to ask questions to. And it's a little bit easier almost because you can ask a bunch of different people questions. You have choices of who you want to ask questions to. So
yeah, totally. Okay, so to wrap it up, what most excites you about the future of Cardboard Cribbage? What's on the horizon? Anything new? Milestones coming up? Share it with us.
So like we talked about, Cardboard Cribbage should be popping up in a lot more different wholesale businesses. And what's really cool is it's not just like in Anchorage. It's like already kind of being in different cities, different little rural spots. I love getting in like small towns where people are going through, and at a shop that I visited, at a few times in my life, or that I always visit when I'm road tripping. Those are some of my favorites. So that's really exciting, getting in more places in Alaska this year. On that kind of, I'll also be in some markets this year. So see me around in different markets in Palmer and in Anchorage. I have a very small little pop-up that you'll kind of see between these tents and stuff. Come say hi. And I'm excited to be doing that all summer. And then super excited about new stuff to come with the boards. Anyone that knows the product knows I have 3 different products out right now. I'm super excited about the collabs I'm doing with some different artists, and I'm really it's going to be a bit, because it's a little bit different process to get those made, but I'm super excited for people to see those and see kind of what Cardboard Cribbage is. You're going to kind of see the future of it, and really I'm excited about the direction. I think everyone else will be too. So.
I love that. See a little bit more flair, highlighting some not just local artists, but you said you got some artists from other places as well. So
yeah, some artists, like mostly artists local to Alaska that people should recognize their stuff. But also some people that I've just been really like, some art I just think is perfect for the product. A friend from like California, for example, did some stuff that I think people will really dig. So
I love that.
Working on some stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see you out at the markets. I'm excited to see all of your product in all of these different places, because now I can be like, I know that But yeah, what you're doing is really great. And, I can't wait to continue seeing you blossom in the state, especially now that we're in summertime, like Alaska's going to get more popular. So everything's going to ramp up a little bit.
And only a little bit of rain so far.
Thank goodness. Yeah. It's been like weird too. It's been like one cloud. Have you noticed
I got
that?
scared immediately. When it was like 4 days of rain, I got scared immediately because I just like thought of last summer and I was like, don't stop.
No, you're not allowed, Alaska. I know. I just moved out to the valley. I had 4 moose in my yard yesterday.
What?
Dude, I'm like, this is literally wild. This is wild, Alaska.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, Jesse. Well, I appreciate you. I still need to get with you to get that sign from you. Thank you so much for getting online with me and doing your first live interview ever. We'll make sure to send you the link so that you can share it as well. Can you share with our audience one more time where they can find your product, where they can find you online?
Yeah. So you can find me online at www.cardboardcribbage.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. And I do a little shop set up there. And then you can find me at markets. I can't remember off the top of my head all the different markets, but visit markets on the weekends. I'll be at one of them. And definitely some different breweries and within Palmer and Anchorage. Man, I'm in. If you're in Anchorage, check out Tidal Wave Books right now. Hoarding Marmot, Airframes. And I should be in the museum soon. If you're in Juneau, you can go to Kindred Post, and I'm there. In Homer, check out Salmon Sisters or the museum there. In Fairbanks, Palmer, or Anchorage, you can check out Airframes. And then Vettles, at the Vettles Lodge, you can grab some. I'm trying to think of the rest, and then it'll be in more too as we go. So, but yeah, I'm around if you want to go pick one up for you or for a friend, or even just send somebody the website. I can ship all over the United States. I'm surprised by how many people in Texas play cribbage, and Florida. People play cribbage in Florida.
I feel like that doesn't really surprise me. That one, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
I'm just always surprised. If you would have told me how many people play cribbage before I started doing this, like I didn't do it because I thought a lot of people played cribbage. I'll tell you that much. Like I am so blown away by the numbers, the percentage of people that are into cribbage. I never would have known.
I love that. If you're into cribbage, go and hit up Jesse and let him know.
Or if you want to be into cribbage,
or if
Cardboard Cribbage, making cribbage cool.
Yeah, and you can just put it in your pocket and take it anywhere you want to go, which is amazing. Thank you, Jesse. I'm so glad that you're a manufacturer here in Alaska, and I hope that we can really make that process even more fruitful here.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is awesome. And as always, I love talking to you. So
thanks. All right, guys. See you later.